The time is precisely 6:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Dulmin Samarasinghe and read by Chantima Veerakorn. Headlines. Quarantine curfew extended by another 2 weeks. A decision has been taken to give Pfizer vaccines for children between 15 and 19 years. Only organic fertilizer approved by Sri Lanka Standards Institute will be imported. Validity period of driving licenses extended by 6 months. A coordinating centre will be set up for differently abled persons. Teachers support to maintain education at northern schools continuously. In news overseas, the US and UK face international backlash over Australia defence deal. In sports news, it's cricket. New Zealand men abandon Pakistan tour after government security alert. Local stories in detail. Quarantine curfew has been extended until 4 a.m. on the 1st of next month. The decision has been taken during the COVID Prevention Committee meeting held today, headed by President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The President has paid his attention on the vaccination program for children. Director General of Health Services Dr. Asela Gunawardena disclosed that Health Experts Committee has recommended to give priority to vaccinate children between the age of 12 and 19 years who are suffering from chronic illnesses. Plans have been drawn up to vaccinate them with the permission of the parents and under the observation of a clinical specialist only at clinics. The President inquired from the committee of experts about vaccinating children between 12 and 15 years. They pointed out that other countries have still not initiated the process and recommendations have been given to vaccinate everyone between the age of 15 and 19 years. Accordingly, it was decided to expeditiously vaccinate the children in that age category. The President instructed to give vaccines only at hospitals and explained the importance of briefing parents correctly in that regard. He instructed to give children only the Pfizer vaccine according to the recommendations of the expert committee. It was pointed out that there was a situation expecting selected vaccines when vaccinating youth. The consultant doctors pointed out that all vaccines are of same quality and they should take the vaccine without waiting for special vaccines. Discussions took place on giving Ayurveda treatment for COVID patients. Attention was paid on establishing post-COVID treatment centres at rural Ayurveda hospitals. Meanwhile, the President pointed out the need to continuously maintain institutions that provide essential public services such as the Motor Vehicle Department and the Land Registration Office. Finance Minister Basil Rajapaksa said even amid the challenging situations, it has been possible to maintain a high economic growth during the first and second quarters of this year. He thanked health, security and all other stakeholders for the achievement. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa instructed to maintain essential services without disrupting civilian life and the economic processes and to keep open all economic centres. Attention was paid on opening rural schools with less than 200 students soon. It was pointed out the need to brief parents and children about health recommendations jointly by the Ministries of Health and Education. The President said that public health inspectors are entrusted with guiding those who are conducting small and medium-scale businesses and engaged in self-employment to maintain their livelihoods without obstacles. The President instructed the IGP to strictly enforce law against those who violate health recommendations and quarantine curfew. Minister of Agriculture Mahindananda Alutgamage says that only organic nitrogen fertilizer approved by Sri Lanka Standards Institution will be imported. He rejected the allegations of the opposition that waste thrown out is being used as organic fertilizer. He said that steps have been taken to provide fertilizer without a shortage at the forthcoming Maha season. The validity of driving licenses that will expire has been extended by another 6 months. Commissioner General of Motor Vehicles Sumit Alhakkon said that the decision was taken due to the extension of quarantine curfew. The driving licenses which expired from 1st of April to 30th of this month and which will expire will get the concession. Delay charges will not be charged when registering vehicles. The Ministry of Mass Media has planned to establish a coordinating centre for differently abled persons. It will be set up at the ground floor at the Media Development Building on the Government Information Department. The centre will be set up for the differently abled persons to meet their needs without any difficulties and to coordinate with the external society. The decision has been taken during a discussion today between Media Minister Dallas Alhab Peruma and a group of differently abled persons. Attention has been paid on providing sanitary facilities, constructing entry paths for the visually impaired and vehicle parking facilities. The members of the Joint Front of the Differently Abled Persons expressed their appreciation for the Media Minister in taking a lead to provide facilities for them. They requested to provide such facilities at all state institutions. Secretary to the Northern Province Education Ministry, Ilangavan says that teachers have taken steps to maintain education of northern children without disruptions. Online teaching is taking place as planned. All teachers in the province are teaching according to a timetable. Revision examinations for term tests have been conducted. Parents in the north are supporting online teaching from grade 3 to grade 11. He said that a large number of persons, including past students who are abroad and intellectuals, are supporting the efforts. The President has inquired about the program maintained without disrupting education for northern children. Mr. Ilangavan said that President took steps to meet the shortcomings for education of the children through the Ministry of Education. Public Security Minister Sarath Weerasekara says that severe punishments will be given to the persons who threaten teachers who are teaching online without taking part in the strike. Complaints have been received that the groups directing the strike are threatening teachers who are engaged in teaching. He requested to complain over 118 or 119 if they were threatened. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with the local stories, Ambassador of the Arab Republic of Egypt to Sri Lanka and Maldives, Hussein Al-Saharti, paid a courtesy call on the Defence Secretary General Kamal Gunratna at the Defence Headquarters Complex Sri Jayawardenepura Kotte today. Sri Lankan Defence Secretary held a cordial discussion with the Egyptian ambassador on matters of bilateral importance and mutual importance. Further enhancing of defence exchanging, including military training between the two countries, were discussed during the exchange of views. The ambassador and the Sri Lankan Defence Secretary expressed willingness to strengthen defence ties between the two countries. Following the meeting, mementos were also exchanged to mark the occasion. Parliament will meet only for 2 days next week. The decision has been taken during the party leaders' meeting this afternoon. Accordingly, the Parliament will meet on 21st and 22nd next week. Sergeant-at-Arms of Parliament Narendra Fernando told SLBC that Mr. Jayantha Katagada is scheduled to take oaths on the 21st of this month as a Member of Parliament. He will fill the vacancy created following the resignation of Mr. Ajit Niwad Cabral. Meanwhile, Chairman of the Elections Commission Nimal Punchiheva said that Mr. Katagada has been named as a Member of Parliament. MP Rishad Badruddin has been further remanded until 1st October in connection with the death of a teenage domestic worker who was serving at his residence. The parliamentarian's wife and father-in-law have been granted bail by the Colombo Magistrates Court when the case was taken up today. On July 15th, the 16-year-old girl succumbed to severe burn injuries while receiving treatment at the Colombo National Hospital. She had been under medical care for 12 days since her admission to the hospital on the 3rd of July. To conclude the local news, the headlines again. Quarantine curfew extended by another 2 weeks. A decision has been taken to give Pfizer vaccine for children between 15 and 19 years. Only organic fertilizer approved by Sri Lanka Standards Institute will be imported. Validity period of driving licenses extended by 6 months. A coordinating centre will be set up for differently abled persons. Teachers' support to maintain education at northern schools continuously. That ends the local news.
A A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Vidya Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vidya Mahatmya.
And on the main news story, the government has decided to administer Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccines to children between the ages of 15 and 19 years based on medical recommendation. State Minister Professor Channa Jayasamana said Pfizer jabs will also be given to children over 12 years with disabilities. That ends the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vidya Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
And now in Watch Light.
Sri Lanka Tourism is gearing to unveil the second edition of Couch Safari by live streaming the Wilpattu National Park to the global audience. A virtual tour of the Wilpattu National Park is scheduled for the 24th and 26th of September to promote the wildlife of the island nation while offering a glimpse of the experience the destination has to offer once fully open for tourists. That ends Watch Light.
World News.
We take a look at the headlines of the world news first. The US and UK face international backlash over Australia defence deal. China applies to join key Asia-Pacific Trade Pact. Thousands gather under bridge at US-Mexico border in growing humanitarian crisis. The US and UK are facing growing international criticism over a new security pact signed with Australia. The deal, seen as an effort to counter China, will see the US and UK give Australia the technology to build nuclear-powered submarines. But the move angered France when said it had been stabbed in the back, while China accused the three powers of having a Cold War mentality. And the pact has raised fears that it could provoke China into a war. China has applied to join a key Asia-Pacific Trade Pact as it attempts to strengthen its position in the region. The move comes the day after a historic security deal between the US, UK and Australia was unveiled. The pact that eventually became the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership was created by the US to counter China's influence. However, former President Donald Trump pulled the US out of it in 2017. Some 10,000 migrants have gathered under a US-Mexico border bridge over recent days, leading to a growing humanitarian crisis. The bridge connects Del Rio in Texas to Mexico's Ciudad Acuna, and the temporary camp there has grown with staggering speed in recent days. The mostly Haitian migrants who have crossed the Rio Grande are sleeping under the bridge in squalid conditions. The US government has been facing a surge of migrants at the border. To end the world news, the headlines again. The US and UK face international backlash over Australia defence deal. China applies to join key Asia-Pacific Trade Pact. Thousands gather under bridge at US-Mexico border in growing humanitarian crisis. That ends world news. We take a look at the development news now. Port City Colombo, the largest and most ambitious development project ever undertaken in Sri Lanka, proudly marks its 7th anniversary since the initial land reclamation work commenced in 2014. During this period, the project has committed $1.4 billion of foreign direct investment to Sri Lanka for initial reclamation and internal infrastructure development. The project is expected to attract $15 billion during the 25 years of its development phase. That ends development news.
Sports news.
And on sports news, it's cricket, football and golf. In news on cricket, New Zealand's men's team has abandoned their tour of Pakistan following a New Zealand government security alert. The Black Caps were due to play Pakistan in the first of 3 one-day internationals in Rawalpindi today before moving to Lahore for a 5-match 2020 series. The decision to abandon the tour came after an escalation in the New Zealand government threat levels for Pakistan. England is due to play Pakistan in 2 T20 matches in Rawalpindi next month. And in football, US forward Carly Lloyd scored 5 in a 9-0 hammering of Paraguay in one of her final games before retiring from football. Lloyd struck twice in the opening 6 minutes before completing her hat-trick on 34 minutes in Cleveland. She added 2 more either side of half-time in the friendly to move on a 133 international goals in her 313th cap. And in golf, world number 1 John Ram has said he is improving after struggling with a stomach ailment earlier this week. The Spaniard is due to make his second Ryder Cup appearance for Europe against the United States at Whistling Straits in Wisconsin from 24th to 26th September. He is playing in the PGA Tour season opener in California but missed the Pro-Am on Wednesday after feeling ill during a practice round on Tuesday. That is sports news.
A safe, easy and versatile app for all your banking needs. NSB Pay for monetary transactions, bill payments, reloads, credit card payments and Lanka QR transactions. A range of facilities with multiple account registrations. Access to your bank needs wherever you are. Download the NSB Pay app from the Play Store or the App Store for free now. For more information, call your nearest NSB branch or 0112 379 379. Conditions apply.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
And on business news, Thornton Engineering, the Next Ventures-owned civil engineering company, has announced the acquisition of a 100% stake in Dane Engineering Private Limited for 350 million rupees, creating a construction business with a combined portfolio of 5.9 billion rupees. The new entity, Thornton and Dane Engineering, expects to add new construction projects with a cumulative value of 5 billion rupees within the current financial year, nearly doubling its projects portfolio. That ends business news.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
A safe, easy and versatile app for all your banking needs. NSB Pay for monetary transactions, bill payments, reloads, credit card payments and Lanka QR transactions. A range of facilities with multiple account registrations. Access to your bank needs wherever you are.
Economic news, courtesy of... I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
And on economic news, Sri Lanka's economy grew at a robust 12.3% in the second quarter of 2021 since late April as a result of an extremely low base in the corresponding period of the previous year, despite the COVID-19 virus-induced restrictions on economic activities. The Department of Census and Statistics said during the second quarter of 2021, all major economic activities recorded significant growth rates as a result of the low base effect stemming from last year. That ends economic news.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Weather report.
And finally, taking a look at the weather report, the Met Department says showers or thunder showers will occur at times in Sabaragamuwa, western, central and northwestern provinces and in Galle and Mathura districts. Fairly heavy showers above 50 millimeters can be expected at some places in western and Sabaragamuwa provinces and in Kandy, Nuwara Eliya, Galle and Mathura districts. Fairly heavy showers about 75 millimeters can be expected at some places in Uva province and in Anuradhapura, Vavuniya and Mullaitivu districts. That ends the weather report. And to conclude this bulletin of news, the headlines again. Quarantine curfew extended by another 2 weeks. A decision has been taken to give Pfizer vaccine for children between 15 and 19 years. Only organic fertilizer approved by Sri Lanka Standards Institute will be imported. Validity period of driving licenses is extended by 6 months. A coordinating centre will be set up for differently abled persons. Teachers support to maintain education at northern schools continuously. In news overseas, the US and UK face international backlash over Australia defence deal. And in sports news, New Zealand men abandon Pakistan tour after government security alert. With that, we conclude this bulletin of news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.